What's going on, everyone? It's Ben from YGO from Zero, back with another retro Yu-Gi-Oh video, and back with my first zombie format gameplay video. Well, maybe not technically my first, because I have shown off a zombie format tournament on stream in the past, and also on a Wheel Wednesday episode, I featured zombie format as well. But this is my first format video of like regular coverage. So I'm looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun, and based on the games I got with this deck, I'm really looking forward to exploring this format. Now, the deck that I'm starting off coverage with is, of course, Zombie. Now, normally when I start off a new format, I just pick the winning list and just run with that. And the original winning list from SJC Durham, which this format's based around, was a zombie list piloted by Philip Anthony. Now, I featured that deck on the aforementioned Wheel Wednesday episode, but I did have some complaints with the deck, so I figured for showing it off for my regular coverage, I would adjust it a little bit. Now, I didn't adjust it like too much. I think the core of the deck was largely pretty good. You're just using things like Pyramid Turtle to go into your big zombies like Koki or Illblood, and you're reviving your Pyramid Turtles or Zombie Masters with Zombie Masters. And you also got Triple Book of Life to bring your things back from grave. You've got Pre-Mat, you've got Call the Han to bring things back from grave. And when you bring things back from grave, you're also often plussing with a card of Safe Return. So even though you have to pitch a card for Zombie Master, if you supposed to summon that thing out, then you get to draw a card of Safe Return, so it replaces itself. And then you potentially draw more ways to revive your stuff. Now, this idea is not perfect. There are some flaws to it. For instance, DD Crow is in the format and is a very, very powerful card against a deck like this. And so you will see this in the side deck. And when it does come in, it can hose you a little bit. But I think the deck is overall pretty good. And, I didn't make too many radical improvements or anything like that. I added in Injection Fairy Lily since we're playing Double Giant Rat to go into Turtle already. There are situations where Lily will come up. I also added a Book of Moon here because we're already playing Double Knock, and Book can pair with that, as well as just being a versatile card overall. I think one thing this deck can lose to is Lightning Vortex. If you set up a really big board and you've got all your monsters on field and they activate Lightning Vortex, that's a bit unfortunate, but Book of Moon can help insulate you against that sort of eventuality. And the last thing I added were these triple Raigeki breaks as well, because I do think that this is a pretty flexible card in this deck. I was considering Phoenix Wind Blast here, but I do think this is a little bit more flexible, and also you want to get your opponent's monsters in grave rather than on top of the deck, so that way you can actually activate your Book of Life. Because if your opponent does not have a monster in graveyard, you can't use Book of Life. So that's why I chose Raigeki Break instead of Phoenix Wind Blast here. For the rest of the deck, it's pretty straightforward. We just got a bunch of good monsters like Breaker, the Magical Warrior. Card Trooper, now limited to one copy, but very good in this deck if you mill your zombies to grave to then bring them back later. Double Sider to get a bit more aggressive. Double Rat and Triple Turtle to have our Recruiter engine online here. We get Illblood as a great Pyramid Turtle target. This is a really good inclusion from Tactical Evolution. One of the few good monsters in that set. And speaking of another good monster from that set, we've got Triple Zombie Master here as well. It's going to only bring back level 4 or lower zombies, but generally if you're bringing back a Zombie Master or a Turtle, you're probably fine with that either way. We've got Lily, as I mentioned, Morphing Jar to draw deeper into our deck. And also, you can bring this out off Rat, so there are situations where you bring this out off Rat and then use Book to set it down, so that is an option for you as well. We have a Koki here as sort of the end boss. The original deck was playing 2. I feel like that's a bit bricky, so I just decided to play 1. That should realistically be all you need. We got a Sangan here to search out other things in our deck. We've got a Reaper to get in for a hander, potentially, or just wall off a bit. And then moving on to the spells, we've got Triple Book of Life. This is one of the key pieces of this deck, key reasons to play it. Super, super strong revival card, and also pairs very well with the Triple Card Save Return, because this card has not been hit in any way on the ban list so far, because it just has not had an engine that could really, really abuse it. And of course, this engine is part of what gets this thing eventually hit on the list. We got BrainCon to take control of our opponent's stuff. We got Double Creature Swap to give our opponent a Recruiter. This is really, really powerful, as you'll see in some of the games that I've got to show for you all today. We've got Heavy Storm to clear away our opponent's back row. Lightning Vortex to clear away their board. I think, honestly, maybe more Lightning Vortexes in the side could be included later, but I do think that one Lightning Vortex in the main is still pretty good. We got MST to deal with their back row, Double Knock to deal with their sets, and a Pre-Mat to bring back our own monsters. For the traps, we've got Call the Han to bring back our monsters, Mirror Force to deal with their aggressive pressure, TT to blow up the board, and Triple Raigeki Break as a flexible removal option. For the side deck, I have a couple different things. Triple DD Crow here to deal with if we're facing a graveyard-focused deck, either zombies or like Perfect Circle Monarch can also take advantage of the graveyard. So I feel like this is a good card. This could honestly maybe even be mained because just so many decks in the format do rely on the graveyard. But I decided to keep it in the side. Maybe that will change over time. And if you bring in the triple DD Crow, I do find it also good to bring in the Crush Card Virus. Now, of course, this won't be good against every deck that you bring in the Crow for, but I do think it's good against a variety of different decks. And also, Crush Card is pretty nice because if you bring in the Crows, the 3 more Crush Card targets, but you've also got this Sangan and the Reaper there as additional targets too. And Reaper's very, very accessible off things like Pyramid Turtle, or just bringing it back off things like Book of Life or something like that. So I do think that Crush Card's a good inclusion when you do bring in the triple Crow and you're up against a deck that actually is hurt a lot by Crush Card. We got triple DDV in the side. This was originally in the main, although I had 1 copy. But I decided to put it in the side deck because I feel like there are a fair amount of decks in the format that don't really care about DDV. Like PC Monarch is a perfect example. That deck is actually happy to get its low attack monsters into grave most of the time. So I don't really think DDV is a one-size-fits-all card, but there are some matchups where it is pretty good, and in that case you do want to bring it in because you've got a couple different targets, namely Koki and Illblood, but they're very, very accessible. So I do think that DDV can be a good card to just hose certain decks in the meta. Got a Dust Tornado to deal with back or along 2 Royal Decree to shut down some traps. We've got a Mind Crush and a Dust Shoot here. If we're up against a deck that churches out a lot of things, the Mind Crush can be good, and Dust Shoot can be good if we know we're going first. Last, we got Triple Pulling the Rug to deal with Perfect Circle Monarch mainly. There are some other decks that also care about, activating effect on normal summons, so it can be good to bring in this against those decks as well. Fusion deck is largely just a meme. We can't go into any of this, so it's just here to have it. But that's going to do it for the deck breakdown. Let's dive into some games and see how this deck actually plays. Okay, we got our first game against Clemens, a frequent guest on the channel. We do lose the RPS, but hopefully that won't affect us too much. Now, if you like gameplay videos like this, definitely subscribe to the channel. It really does help a lot, grow our community, and make it more possible to make videos like this. Anyway, our opponent's going to open with a normal summon Cyber Phoenix and then just pass back to us, so it seems like they are on Machine OTK of some sort. Or it could be CO Burn as well, as an option too. We're going to bring out a Zombie Master here and just get the party started, pitching a turtle to bring back the turtle. Now, you can't do this in Modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, but at the time of this event, you actually could do this. If you had an empty grave, you could pitch a zombie and then bring back the Zombie Master. So that's what we'll do, just to get a bit more bodies on the board and also crash this turtle into the Phoenix to get out a big guy from deck. We bring out Illblood because I figure next turn we can normal summon the Illblood and then bring back a turtle. If they clear the Illblood, we've got Book of Life to bring that back and then normal summon it next turn and bring back something else. So I feel like we're in a very, very good spot here. We can get in for a fair amount of damage. Unfortunately for us, we pass back to our opponent and they reveal Future Fusion plus Overload Fusion. So that is a bit scary. We at least do get the info from what they send off Future Fusion. So we will just, play out that part at least just to see what they're on here. And we see that they send a fair amount of machines, including triple Takoichi, double Jinzo. So we're getting a bit of a peek into what they're playing. The Takoichis mean that I probably will still be playing Nock in game 2 and 3 if it makes it that far. But yeah, this will be well over lethal because that thing is 8,000 attack and it's attacking over both our monsters. So kind of unfortunate. Not really anything we could have done there, I think. Like realistically, like no matter what, we were probably crashing into the Phoenix and then getting in for something with the turtle. I think the Zombie Master was the better way to do that. But yeah, they had to have 2 limited cards there in hand, really, to pull that off. And unfortunately, they did. That's occasionally how it happens with this deck. I did bring in a Crush Card Virus here. This maybe was a mistake, but my reasoning was like, well, Crush Card Virus can deal with Chimera Tech Overdragon if they bring that out. So I figured it would be fine to have that, but maybe it was kind of a bad inclusion here. It actually turned out to be a very good inclusion in this game specifically, but we're just going to set Sangan, set Crush Card, set MST, pass back to them. We don't want them to foo-foo, so we need that MST set there. And we feel pretty good about having this Crush Card here. They're going to set 2, pass back to us. We will MST their back row in the end phase. We can make some pretty crazy plays happen here in our following turn. We'll draw a card to save for turn. That is incredibly good. We're going to go for a Crush Card here, tribute that Sangan, and get rid of that Jinzo. Happy about that. And then we get to see their hand as well. We see that they've got a DD Crow, a Return from the Different Dimension, and a Smashing Ground. That DD Crow can make things a bit tricky for us because we can't really easily bring back our monsters from hand. But, or not from hand, from grave. But, we can still make some stuff happen here because we do have Turtle plus Creature Swap. We will swap into a Sangan here. Yes, this does get some value later, potentially. But I do think it is good to go for this because we can get really aggressive here while they can't really do much. So we'll attack in with the Cyber Dragon, kill the Turtle, and then we're going to bring out this Illblood. Now, Illblood's effect doesn't really work that well against the Crow, but the reason we bring this thing out is because they've got Smashing Ground, so they can deal with Koki that way. So I'd rather have the Illblood here. to, sort of survive and give us the zombie on field that can actually potentially do stuff later, rather than have Smashing just get rid of Koki and then lose that to Book of Life. Also, Illblood gives us a pretty low commitment way to, get rid of that Crow, because if we go Book of Life and they Crow, then we'll have to banish the Jinzo there, because Book of Life will resolve as much as possible, even if it can't bring back the monster. So, we're setting up the return from the different dimension, which we don't really want to do. But with Illblood, we can bait out that Crow. They use it on the turtle that we try to bring back, and then they don't actually have anything banished for the return. So I felt like this would be overall a pretty good play. And we'll attack in for 2100 there, drop them down to 5000. We'll set the card of safe return here because, one, we know that they don't have any spell trap removal right now. And two, this card is basically going to be dead for us for the rest of the game, so I might as well set it as a bluff. They draw into another return, so that could potentially help them out later. They're going to go for Smashing on the Sidra, pass back to us. We draw into this Rat. We'll go for the Rat and then attack in for 24 plus 21, so that is 4,500 points of damage. This is going to be very, very good for us overall, and I don't really see how we lose from this position. Lightning Vortex could probably do it. Yeah, Lightning Vortex would be pretty bad for us because they also get the Search off Sangan there, but they're at 500 life points, so even if they have Vortex, I think we'll probably have the tools to actually get through this. They draw into an Exiled Force. That's not going to do it, because if they summon an Exiled Force, pop one of our things, we still have enough damage here. If they summon an Exiled Force, pop the Sangan to get a Search. I don't think there's anything they can search that can actually get them out of this situation, so that's going to be the end of the game there. We'll go on to game 3. And I think I do keep the deck largely the same, so I have the Crows and the Crush card. In terms of siding out things against it, I should mention what I sided out. I sided out a Lily, a Vortex, a Heavy, and yeah, I sided out those 3 for sure. I sided out Heavy because it doesn't seem like they're big on back row. I sided out Lily because I feel like Lily's a bit bad into a deck likely playing like UFO Turtles. Along with Sire Phoenix, it's like can clear Sire Phoenix, but if they just set the Sire Phoenix or they set the Decoy, it's kind of bad against that as well. So I didn't really like that there. Vortex I sided out because while it is good against Cyber Phoenix specifically, I felt like a lot of the time, if the deck does have a full board of machines, they're probably killing me that turn. So I don't really want to play with the Vortex. And then I forget what the last card I sided out was. Maybe I'll remember it over the course of this game here. But I feel like this is a pretty good start for us. We've got Morphing Jar plus Book of Life and Mirror Force. So if we lose the Koki, that's going to be pretty good for us. If they've got a way to do something with the Morphing Jar, that's bad. But this is honestly a fine hand to set. So we're feeling okay about this. They're going to go for Rhoda here, grabbing ADD Warrior Lady there. And then they're going to summon out that Warrior Lady and attack into our Morphing Jar. Now, we could Mirror Force this to prevent them from having 5 fresh new cards to do stuff with here. But I want to save the Mirror Force for a more impactful attack. Maybe that was a mistake on my part, but it's what I decided to go for, and they will lose their entire hand here. So this does also prevent them from getting value off, like, for instance, if they set Call in main phase 2, or just set other back row that they had drawn that they weren't going to commit before the battle phase. Because generally, even though I don't think Malevolent Catastrophe is out yet, generally people do still play around that setting cards in main phase 2. It gives less information for the opponent as well. So I think it generally makes sense to do that, but they did lose their Call of the Haunted there. So we're going to go into main 2. They go for Rhoda for Exiled Force just to have some removal there. It seems like they might be running low on Warriors, which is why they probably did that. Because generally you want to save Rhoda for, like, if you need a specific Warrior to do something here. But the fact that they fired it now means that they might not have enough Warriors to make it live at all sort of eventualities there. Because if they draw into another Warrior, then this thing might be dead. So that gives us a bit of information on what their hand might be. And we've got a pretty crazy setup here if we want to go for it. So we'll special summon out this Sidra, go for card safe return, and then we'll go for Book of Life, target the Koki and the Sidra in their graveyard. So that somehow goes through. It seems like they don't have a Crow, so we're very happy about that. We'll banish that Sidra from their grave. I could have potentially banished something else, but I wanted to banish the Sidra because I didn't want Overload to be online. So I bring back the Koki here, draw 2 cards, and we draw into a Turtle, which is just perfect because now we can go summon out the Turtle, creature swap here, give them the Turtle. They will give them us the set Assailant. I think that does make sense because we could get more aggressive with the Warrior Lady there. And we're just going to attack over the Warrior Lady with the Sidra because we want to keep our zombies in rotation. Then we'll attack over the Turtle with the Koki and then bring out a Zombie Master here to just get more draws in the follow-up. So we'll attack in for 18. We're going to go for Zombie Master. We're doing this all now because we don't want them to draw into Crow. We know that they probably sided into 3 Crow. So while the Crow is gone, we're going to get as much value off of our card safe return as possible. So we pitch the blood, bring back the turtle, draw 2 more cards here. We got Book of Life, so you know what? We're just going to go for that too. We could have potentially saved it, but we're just trying to get as many draws as possible here. And also do this while the crow is gone. And yeah, we draw into pre-mat as well, so even if they clear this board, we can pre-mat back the Ill Blood, normal summon it again, get out another thing. So we are feeling very, very good here, even if they have Vortex. Even if they have Vortex, we've got this set Assailant to protect ourselves as well. So we are feeling very good here. We set a Raigeki Break. Sure, this plays in a Heavy Storm a bit, but they didn't have Heavy Storm last turn, so they'd have to draw into it here, because I do think that if you draw Heavy Storm and your opponent has 3 back row, especially after a Morphing Jar, you fire that Heavy Storm 100%. So we set Break, pass back to them, and I'm feeling very, very good about this situation. They set 2, pass back to us. We will Raigeki Break, pitch the Crow, and pop that set card there, just in case it's something good. It is a return. And I feel pretty confident about this, especially when we draw into a knock. That was about the best thing we could have drawn here. And that's just going to wrap it up here, because we can just knock their monster, and that's just going to be the end of the game. So, yeah, that's going to do it here. Showing the power of this deck for sure. I mean, that was really, really crazy. Once we had the card save returns up, we were just able to draw a ton of cards, and also Creature Swap showing its immense value as well. I mean, people who've been playing a lot of these formats ever since like Reaper format, probably familiar with the power of Creature Swap in a zombie deck. I mean, Dead Rat was as powerful as it was because you Creature Swap your opponent a rat or a turtle, and then get out a big zombie guy and just beat face. But it really is super powerful in this format as well. I mean, it's just such a powerful combo if you're able to pull it off. And if you get those draws going, you can very, very likely pull it off. So very, very cool stuff here. This wasn't the only game I got with this deck, and this wasn't the only game I got against Clemens as well, although they wanted to try out a different deck against this zombie deck. So let's dive into that one now. Okay, we got another game against Clemens here, but they are playing something a bit different. So we'll have to see if the zombie deck can hold up against a different style of deck here. So this is a pretty good hand to start out with. We could just start with the Zombie Master Bring Back Turtle. I don't really think that's necessary though. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to summon out the turtle and then send a Mirror Force, pass back to them. The reason I summon out the turtle is because I don't want to get knocked. If it gets knocked, it kind of shuts off all of my plays. And if they do go for like Warrior Lady to try and banish this thing, I do have Mirror Force for that. So I feel like that's a pretty good play overall. They go for Emergency Call here to bring out a Stratos. Bit unfortunate for us, but I mean, honestly, you know, I'm not too upset about this because we can crash the turtle into the Stratos and then get things going that way. So they're going to search out a Neos Alias there. New inclusion in Tactical Evolution. So Little City, or Big City that is, gets a little bit better here. Then they've got an R Righteous Justice to pot up our back row, which is a bit unfortunate there. They're going to smashing our turtle as well, and then they're going to attack in for 1800 with that Stratos. They're going to set 1, pass back to us. We draw a Creature Swap, so we definitely want to go for the turtle play. I could have also gone for Breaker instead, potentially, but that wouldn't have been really that good because, you know, I'd have to use up the counter on the back row before attacking into Stratos if I wanted to dot around like Mirror Force or things, but I feel like since we got the Creature Swap, what we can do here is we can just go Zombie Master, pitch the Lily, because it's better to bring back off of a special summon rather than Breaker, which has to be normal summoned. And then we can go for a turtle here. We can Creature Swap in the turtle, and they're going to think about that, but ultimately it will be fine. So now we can just attack over the turtle with the Stratos, deal 600, bring out a Koki here, because Koki actually does some work against hero decks, because at the end of the damage step, if you battle a warrior spellcaster, that monster automatically destroyed. So we can do some pretty crazy things against this style of deck. Is it really the most necessary thing in the world? Maybe not, but I do think that it is pretty good also just for having a big body on board, right? We could have brought Ill Blood here instead to then bring back the turtle next turn and potentially set that up. But I do feel like getting Koki in rotation is the best thing to do here. They bring out an Alias attack over our Zombie Master to prevent us from getting back that turtle next turn, which I do think makes sense. They're going to set 1, pass back to us. We draw a Morphing Jar here. We go for Breaker to try and pop that new back row there, because I feel like that back row could give us a bit of trouble. They're going to go for Solemn on that. So that is a big play there. You know, that back row must be something good here. I do think ultimately we still want to attack in here because this is lethal. So even if it is something like Mirror Force, we can potentially Vortex the Alias if we really want to. But also we have this Morphing Jar in the following turn to just draw more cards and get back into the game that way. And they're very, very low on life. So I'm fine attacking into a potential Mirror Force here if it potentially means game this turn. They're going to go for a Shrink, though, shrinking down our Koki. So it seems like the reason they solemned the Breaker there was because if we broke the shrink, yes, they'd be able to chain it and cut down our Koki there, but we'd still be able to get in for lethal damage there because we just attack in Koki into the alias and pop it with the effect. That's what's going to happen here as well. We will take 700, but the alias will die, and then we'll be able to attack in with the Stratos for lethal. So that's going to do it there. Yeah, either way, they're kind of cooked on that board state, but going to game 2, maybe they've got some things decided against us. We got some things decided against them. We brought in a DDV, for instance, because I feel like that's pretty good against this deck. I believe we also brought in... No, we didn't bring in any Crows, because I feel like this deck, while it does suffer against Crow, I feel like oftentimes, you know, it's very telegraphed when they're going to bring something back from grave, so we can just use the Book of Life in advance to do that, because really the only thing they care about bringing back is like Stratos if they're playing Big City, because they're not playing like Disc Commander or things like that. So I feel like Book of Life should be enough. We don't really need the Crows in addition to it. But we got a pretty good play here. Turtle plus Swap. I mean, it is just busted if you draw that combo, and we did draw that combo. So we're going to attack in to the Turtle here. They do have Mirror Force to clear the Stratos, but, you know, our Turtle is now in rotation, so we can get over that pretty easily. Opponent's going to bring out an alias here, then go for our Righteous Justice. We're going to chain this Raigeki Break, and this actually is a big thonk here. But I think ultimately I will pitch the Zombie Master. And that may seem weird because Zombie Master gets us into other things here. But if I lose the Rat, I don't have a monster in hand to use for Zombie Master. So Zombie Master's a bit less good. And also, I feel like Rat's just a better card defensively as well, just to bring out a big guy from our deck. So I feel like it's better to pitch the Zombie Master. This also does set up our Book of Life next turn, so we can banish the Stratos right away. So I feel like it's ultimately pretty good. They're going to go for a Turtle attacking in for 12, and then they're going to set one pass back to us. We draw Injection Fairy Lily, which is pretty good. We could go for Book of Life now just to clear the Stratos, but I feel like it's better just to run out the Lily and try and attack over our Turtle and see if this goes through. They've got a TT though, so it won't quite go through, but we can get pretty crazy here and go for Book of Life, and we're going to target the Zombie Master in the Stratos. The reason for this is if they do have a DD Crow, I'd rather get rid of the Zombie Master than the Turtle. And if they don't have a DD Crow, then I get to bring back the Turtle anyways. So they're going to DD Crow here, banish that Zombie Master, but we still get to banish the Stratos, and that can be devastating for them because Big City, they want to return their Stratos as much as possible, but with Stratos gone, they can't really do as much. So they do need to have the pre-mat here. They're going to have to bring back that Alias. Kind of a sad pre-mat compared to bring back Stratos, but that's how it goes sometimes. They're going to attack in for 19, pass back to us. We draw a Call, so that's very, very nice for us. And they have no back row, so we can feel fine. Just summing out this giant rat here. Taking a little bit of damage, sure. But then we also get out a big guy, so we can attack in for 7, and then attack with our Illblood here. You might wonder why we brought out Illblood instead of Koki. I do like Illblood here because we can call it back and then bring back something on the following turn. And so we can essentially get into Koki if we bring back our Turtle and do stuff with that. Sure, if we brought out Koki here, we could just bring it back with Call if they clear it that way, and Koki is a bit more annoying for them. But since we're very, very low resources, I think the Illblood will serve us better here. So we attack in for 200 over that Alias, and then we're just going to set this Call and pass back to them. If they clear the Illblood, then we can call it back next turn, bring back the Turtle, and then hopefully crash into their monster, bring out Koki. They've got this Alias here. They're going to Vortex, pitching the Crow, and getting rid of our Illblood, and that's great for us because now we've basically got free reign to just go Call, bring back Illblood, and then dominate the game on the following turn. We draw BrainCon. Unfortunately, we can't get lethal through this because if we BrainCon the Alias, then that's 19 plus 21, 4,000 plus 1,200, so that's 5,200, not quite there. But what we can do is we can bring back this Turtle and then crash the Turtle into the Alias here and, yeah, get a Koki out. Illblood, just crazy powerful card if you're able to establish it in a low resource game state like this. So we're able to get in for 2,600 total and also have this Koki in rotation now. They draw a card and they just scoop it up because that card is our Righteous Justice, which will not do anything here. Even if they set the our Righteous Justice, I think on the following turn I'd just attack him with Illblood and Koki, not commit anything else. Actually, I could have... Now, probably what I'd do is I'd probably just use Illblood to bring back the Turtle because they've used up their TT, I guess. Maybe not. It depends on what I draw, but I'm still in a very, very good spot here either way. Like, I can play this multiple ways, especially since I don't have to play around TT or Mirror Force here, so I'm just winning the game 6 ways to Sunday here. But that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed as always. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing what this deck could do. Now, of course, this deck did not face off against its nemesis in this format, Perfect Circle Monarch, which is arguably the best deck in the format. Perfect Circle Monarch had a lot of things going for it against this style of deck. One, it spins things back to the top of the deck instead of the graveyard, so it prevents you from really getting off all your graveyard revival effects. Two, the Monarchs can just natively beat over Illblood, so that's a bit unfortunate for you as well. And you know, it's just a very, very strong deck overall. Like, it plays very grindy games. It can really put your opponent back a lot of the time. And in a deck like this, if you just get bricked on combo pieces or something, it's able to really capitalize on that brickage. But I do think that this deck is still very, very good. And we'll have to see as the format continues how it continues to do against Perfect Circle Monarch, if it can sort of reclaim some of its lost glory against that deck. But let me know what you think about this deck down in the comments below. Do you think that it is cool, but it ultimately doesn't stand up against some of the heavy hitters of the format? Or do you think that it's a sleeper deck that people have sort of discounted now because of modern innovations, but with the right build, it could definitely bounce back? Let me know down in the comments below. I look forward to sort of discussing this stuff with you as always. If you want to play games in zombie format or any other format that I feature on the channel, head over to the YGO from Zero Discord server, linked in the description down below. We're going to be having a zombie locals this upcoming weekend, and also a zombie format monthly tournament coming up later this month. So definitely check out that and join the Discord if you want to play in that. But that's going to do it as always. Big shouts to my patrons: Rinspin, Pork Tycoon, Brendan Donker, Tyler Compton, GLMYFS, Dump Truck, and Scout Zero. It means a lot that you all support this way and encourage me to make more videos like this one in the future. And until next time, I've been Ben from YGO from Zero, and I'm signing off.